How the Mind Works, Part 1. I'd like to start with some principles of the mind, some truths about how you and I think. These truths will help you in understanding why you may feel so stressed all of the time, and also how to function mindfully so you're not stressed. I will outline them first, then I'll go into much more detail about each one so you can really get a feel for how they work together to produce a perfectly stress-free state. Truths of how the mind works. You can only focus on one thing at a time. You're always free to think anything you choose. You can only directly experience this moment, right here, right now. There is no stress in the present moment, except for very rare occasions, less than 1% of the time. Here and now is a stress-free place. When you bring your attention to the present moment, here and now, you get relaxation. Let's expand on each of these ideas. The first truth about the way the mind works is this: the mind can only have a dominant focus on one thing at a time. You can never think specifically about two or more things simultaneously. You can observe several things, but you can't focus directly on more than one thing. It may seem like that is what you do when you observe your thoughts jumping from idea to idea so quickly. It seems like you're able to think many things at the same time, but that's not the case. It's not possible for your mind to dwell on two different dominant thoughts at exactly the same time. Some people think they're experts at multitasking. The truth is, they bounce back and forth very quickly from task to task. Here's an example. You're driving and you get a text message on your cell phone. It's shouting at you to read it. As you divert your attention to your phone, you can't simultaneously focus on your driving. You can bounce back and forth from one to the other, but you can't focus directly on both things simultaneously, which is why you should never text while you're driving. Another example. If you're reading a book, you can't at the same time watch the show that's on TV. You can read, then watch, then read, and then watch, but the two can't happen together. I'll expand on multitasking a bit more later on. A second important aspect of the mind is you're always free to think anything you choose. There are no restrictions as to what your mind can think about. Some have called this our God-given gift of free agency. Ultimately, no one has control over your thoughts except for you. What you choose to think about is entirely your decision. At any conscious moment, you can think about anything you want to, and your choices are unlimited. There may be consequences, benefits, or rewards for thinking certain ways, but ultimately, what you think is up to you. If I asked you to think of the ultimate love bug, you could put pictures in your mind of how that might look. At the same time, you have the power to think of anything else, perhaps a cross-eyed cat. It's always your choice which thoughts you entertain in your mind. The principle of attrition. Associated with your ability to choose what you focus on is the principle of attrition. Not only do you have the power to choose where to focus your thoughts, you also have the power to choose where not to focus your thoughts. And as you cease focusing your thoughts on people, situations, and events that you would consider negative ones, the negative nature of those unpleasant conditions or ideas lose their power to control or influence you. Essentially, if you consistently aren't thinking about them, they lose their negative impact. This is not the same as avoiding or ignoring things that you find unpleasant. Ignoring or avoiding still involves thinking about them. Instead, you simply keep your attention focused on those areas of your life that you would consider positive, happy, and beneficial. A simple example to show how the principle of attrition works would be this one. Let's say that the World Cup soccer tournament is happening, and your favorite team has just lost. Everyone is devastated by the loss. Your team was supposed to win, but they didn't. It looks like they're out of the tournament. Now, if you decide not to think about the loss, to focus your attention on other things, the loss won't feel devastating to you. In fact, if you don't give it any thought, you won't be bothered by it at all. To take it even a step further, if you don't even give the soccer tournament any of your attention, you'll not even know who played. Here's another example. We experience feelings of fear when we give too much attention to the potential pain and negative outcomes of things that may happen to us. If we stop focusing on the fearful thoughts, the fear will die through attrition. If you're not thinking of losing things you value, such as money, love, appreciation, etc., then you will not feel the fear of losing them. Essentially, what you don't pay any attention to won't affect you. These first two principles are important to keep in mind so that you understand that your stress really does begin with your thoughts. If you're free to choose any thought, and you can only have one dominant thought at a time, it's you that decides exactly which thought is on center stage of your mind. Understanding these principles also helps you realize the freedom you have to change your thoughts at any moment. Stay tuned for truth number 3.